Hey guys, so today we are going to do some sharpening of the VPA 3-blade solid one-piece construction broadheads, and we're going to be talking about them and as far as how I think, what I think, all that kind of good stuff. So, something's beeping. I don't know what was beeping. But first I want to scale these things. They are supposed to be 125 grains as the ones I ordered, and we are going to see how consistent they are. Some of the bigger name brand companies I know actually will ship them to you a little on the heavy side. And that's a-okay with me. I'm fine with that. If they're a little heavier, that's great. That gives me actually some more room to work with as far as when I'm sharpening and knocking some of that metal off of there to get down to the actual 125 grain that I'm looking for. So without further ado, let's start weighing these things and seeing what we get. First one here comes in at 128 even. Second one here, 128 even. Third one here, 128.6. So we got one that's a little heavy. Well, all three of them are a little heavy, but one of them is a little heavier than the others, just by 0.6 of a grain. So take that with a grain of salt, if you will. But that is that. So let's get into the sharpening. Now, y'all know that they sent me a couple different broadheads and a couple different of the 3-blade designs. They have the solid one, which we're working with today. And then they also sent me, this is also the 1.1/8 cut. They did send me a vented version of this, 1.1/8. They also sent me a 1.25" vented. All of them in the carbon steel with the black oxide, like you see on this one here. But they did also send me one that is another 1.1/8, but it is a vented as well, but it's stainless steel, and it does not have the black oxide like this carbon tool steel one does. But again, they're all 3 blades, so they all sharpen the exact same way. You lay them flat on a sharpener and just keep going back and forth a few times on each side, flipping it over, and keep going and going and going until you get the sharpness level that you prefer, or whatever your buddy tells you is sharp enough. Have him test it out, maybe have him hold his arm out and throw an arrow at it and see if it goes through. If it does, it's sharp. But you can test it however you want. But all of those are the same. So I'm not going to do, I know this is a series on all of VPA's heads that they sent me, but I'm not going to do a sharpening video on every single 3-blade that they sent, just because of the fact that they all sharpen the same. So I'm going to do it on these. And if you do happen to buy, the vented or the stainless steel vented or something of that 3-blade style nature, you sharpen them all the same. So we're going to start with that. I got my stone sharpener here. This one's got 3 different sides on it: coarse, medium, and fine. Once we get to the white side, the fine side, I actually use a honing solution. I dab it on there, and then I continue going. It just helps the sharpening. So, but we're going to start on the coarse. These are field sharp from VPA directly, and they are pretty daggum sharp. But are they sharp enough for me? Yes, they will go through a deer. Especially, flying at, 275 feet per second with a 500 grain arrow. They will go through a deer. Do I want them sharper? Yeah, I do. So that's what we're doing. So I usually start, with somewhere between 10 strokes per side on the coarse, and then I'll flip it and I'll go down to like 8 or 7 passes on the medium side, and then I'll go down to 5 or maybe 4 or 5 passes on the fine side, and then I'll test it out and see, how my edges look and how it feels to me and all that kind of stuff. So we'll start with the coarse, and we'll start on the 10 strokes. And also with these, being that they're lay flat, I've seen some people put it on there and then they'll go back and forth with it. I don't prefer to do that. I like to keep my edges all uniform per se. So I like to run forward and then come off of the stone and then forward, off of the stone and then forward. It just helps keep the edge a little more profile and uniform. So that's just what I like to do. So we're going to get into that here in a little bit. So without further ado, let's get started. As you can see here, we're on the sharpening stone. This is what we're going to do. We're going to grab it, push down. I'm not going to push down to the point where I'm trying to push through the table, just because, I mean, yeah, the table's strong enough to keep me up, but I'm not trying to put that much pressure on the blades. I'm just trying to keep enough to keep it down and keep all the edges flat on the sharpening stone. I'm not pushing, I'm not trying to break it, just trying to keep constant pressure on it. I'm just going to run 1, 2, 3, 4. Y'all can keep count. I don't have to count for you. And then it's just flip. You can either flip to the left or you can flip to the right, however you want to flip. My mind works backwards from everybody else, so I will flip to the right. I'm sure yours works differently. It's easier for you to flip left. It doesn't really matter. Keep constant pressure. That's the only thing that matters here. Flip it over again. Alright, so as you can see, you might be able to zoom in on this and see, I'm not sure. But we started creating some grooves and some etching on those blades and on those edges. So that's what we want to work out. Now that we have those grooves, we want to work it out. So I will now take my sharpener, flip it to the medium grit, medium side, and repeat the same process, but this time less strokes. This is where some music comes in hand. Keep you from going crazy. That noise to me is almost like nails on a chalkboard. So let's see here. Now you can see there's not as many drastic etching marks on the profile of those blades. So we're just working those down. That's all we're doing. That's all you're trying to do. Constant pressure, not too much pressure. Constant pressure. Now, let's get to the fine side of things here. Alright, so got my honing solution. We're on to the fine plate now. So I will take this, I'll shake it up. Directions, shake well. So, just do a couple dabs. Nothing crazy. A couple dabs of it. I'll kind of, move that around. Oh God, he's going in circles. It's fine, y'all. Y'all calm down. I'm just working the honing solution down into the stone. That's all I'm doing. Now we'll get into the meat and potatoes. Now, same amount of pressure. Just go a little bit slower on this one. You can actually feel it taking off some of that metal and material and creating that edge that you want. And this honing solution is also really, really good for making that edge shine like butter. But normally with your coarse and medium sides, you can feel how gritty it is. With this fine one, if I didn't have this oil on here, I could still feel how gritty it actually is with this blade. You can feel it in your fingers. But with this honing solution on here, once you cut through that initial grit, it just turns into absolute, owl shit. So slick, so smooth. And you can see my stone, how it's starting to get a little black. That's actually from the metal that I'm taking off as I'm sharpening these edges. And that honing solution actually helps hold that onto the stone so that, you know, makes your cleanup process a little easier when you're done. So a few more passes on this one, and then we'll check it in comparison, you know, how the edge looks and how it feels to the rest of them that I haven't sharpened yet. And you also keep in mind, I've got 9 boxes of broadheads to go through. So your boy's got some work to do. Uh-oh, I dropped it. See, that's the other good thing about 3 blades. When you drop them and you forget what damn side you're on, it don't matter. Keep going. Now, if that was a double blade, you know, single bevel, and I was only sharpening one side, I might have got a little confused and just said screw it, and I would have actually flipped my stone over and just started all over. Just, I'm OCD like that, that's all. So, let me move this out the way and get some of this solution off my hands and off the blades here so I can show y'all. Alright. Let's see here. Where'd you go? There you are. Alright, so now you can see we don't have any of the etching marks on those blades. It's all just nice and smooth. Now, it's another cool thing that I've noticed with these broadheads is, one, they're not cast. They are machined out of one piece of steel. And with them being machined versus cast, they're able to carry this ferrule in the middle here all the way up to the tip. All the way up to that pyramid tip, which is awesome for penetration and your blood trails. A lot of people worry about blood trails with fixed blade broadheads. Make sure you have one with a pyramid tip like this one does. That pyramid tip on there is what helps with your blood trails. But that is one mean and sharp looking broadhead right there. Let's see if it's to my liking yet. So I've got 2 of the blades that are to my liking. One of them is not. So what that means is back to the drawing board. But we will go back and we will just go back to the medium side, just to help that one blade just a little bit more. And all I'm going to do for that is just add a little bit more pressure. You can hear it getting into that blade. Just make sure you want to get all the sides even pressure and the same amount of pushes for each edge. But this is just my broadhead sharpening video. This is how I do it. There are thousands of other broadhead videos out there on how to sharpen. You can either go watch them or you can watch me do it. I don't really care. It's completely up to y'all. But these are the VPA heads. I haven't seen too many sharpening videos on the VPA heads. Yes, this is 3 blade. Can you watch any other 3 blade sharpening video and learn how to do it with the VPAs? Yes, you can. But I'm choosing to show you with a VPA, not, you know, a G5 or whoever else, you know, that makes 3 blade. Because in my opinion, as far as, well, not just my opinion, but everything else I'm reading online or talking with VPA on, is everybody else in the industry is making a cast, not a machined. So I am loyal. I'm loyal to a T with my VPA guys, and I will continue to be. So that's why you're seeing this one on here today. Alright, just about a few more passes. I'm just about ready to check it. See if I got that one edge to my liking yet. Let's see here. Okay, and that broadhead is done. All right, so now that we got that one broadhead done, the rest of them are going to be the exact same way for the rest of the pack, which is 3. But that's what we got. That's how I sharpen them. I still got these other 2 to do. Actually, no, I've still got 4 boxes to do. But y'all go be sure and check out VPA broadheads. And don't also forget that SEBH10, that will get you 10% off the entire site. That is for, Southeastern Bowhunter Podcast, SEBH10. Save you a little bit of money on these broadheads. They are a little bit on the expensive side, but they are industry leading broadheads, so they are worth every penny, I promise you. Let's see, update. Last week I was able to use one of the VPA Omegas and one of the VPA S7s on a doe. I ended up making a bad shot with the Omega, and I ended up spining her. My first spine shot, I've never done that, but I did finish her off with a lethal heart shot with the S7, so she wouldn't have to suffer. But the Omega, it performed better, way better than I ever expected. It actually went in and not just poked a hole in the scapula, but it destroyed her scapula, and then also continued and lodged 1.5 inches in the spine. I was able to recover the broadhead, and the broadhead, all I have to do is resharpen it. So there's nothing wrong with the broadhead. So again, I can't speak enough for VPA, but y'all need to go check them out. And don't forget SEBH10, 10% off your entire purchase. But that is my solid 3-blade sharpening video. We'll get into some more as far as with the S7, because those you have to have at a different, a certain angle. And the Omegas has some of the best sharpening technology in the world. So I'm excited to show you that one. That one, a 5-year-old could sharpen. And we'll touch on that later on in another video. So thanks guys. Talk to y'all later.